Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting for June 26, 2025, be a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the state flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the sea is symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda will be the approval of regular meeting agenda.
Second.
So a motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Flores. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to public input. Do we have anyone for public input? Hold on real quick. So during this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions, want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Any individual who would like to discuss an item in more depth may request to be placed on a future agenda, and the request forms are in the county manager's office. Come on.
Good morning. My name's Paul Foreman. I'm back to the same old thing. I'm griping about the side-by-sides and the rulings on Highway 35 and 15. I need to be quick because I got I pulled up the Game and Fish's website, and they say it's illegal to do this, okay? Divide a road. It's either all or none, okay? My side-by-side, I pay insurance on it. It's classified as a motorcycle, not what Game and Fish or anybody else classifies it as. It's just like my pickup running down the road, is what I'm understanding, okay? I don't mind paying insurance on it. I don't mind being legal. I have a license plate on it that says paved roads. I want to say this. The sheriff's office, the state police, the border patrol, the National Guard, those guys were all nice. Very nice, very polite, very helpful during this mess of the fire, okay? I've got nothing but praise for them. Every one of them was very nice about it. I want to complain, and I don't want to complain against the firefighters. They've done a good job. But they can run a side-by-side down that closed section of that road. And I guess it's legal for them to do it, but we're not allowed to do it. I don't understand that. The statute is clear that I got. I mean, the ticket I got, I read the statute. It's clear. I don't agree with it, but it's clear. I saw the city, Silver City, running their side-by-side down Highway 90. It's not supposed to be legal. What I'm saying, there's two standards out there. It doesn't apply to everybody. And I know it was a fire emergency and all that, but just because it's got fire on the side of it, can it run down the road on an illegal road? And then I'm told the reason they closed 15 going to Cliff Dwellings, it's steep a road for the side-by-sides. There's bicycles goes down there. There's electric bikes, there's cars, there's pickups, there's pulling horse trailers, they're pulling camp trailers and all that. Semis can go down that road. And if a semi go off there with 80,000 pounds, a freaking side-by-side can go down there with no problem. I don't understand this. I mean, I read the statute and how many minutes I got left?
You have a minute and 15 seconds.
I just don't understand how they can pass a statute and it doesn't affect everybody. I seen the game department going up Highway 35, pulling a boat with a motorboat on it. And I'm presuming they took it to either Bear Canyon or Lake Roberts. And they can run out. You can't. The public can't, but they can. I don't understand this two-system mess, okay? I know I'm missing things. I can't. I do this every time I come here. But I don't understand how we got a two-system deal. I know that was a fire emergency and all that, but they had a pickup and a trailer. I watched them load it at the barrier, but they unloaded it and went up that road.
Thank you,
me,
Mr. Moore.
they
Your
can
time's up. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do we have anyone else for public input?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. I just wanted to give an update real quick on issues that we're dealing at the Sheriff's Office. As of last date, yesterday, we had some individuals come in concerned because they are receiving calls from the public, or somebody's calling them and letting them know that they're employees with the Sheriff's Office, alleging that they need to come in and give money to get out of certain things, and that certain Sheriff's Office employees are asking for donations for different things. I want to let the public know the Sheriff's Office is not reaching out to anybody for any reason for anything about that. So if I can please have the media put it out, continue to advertise it, that we are not doing anything like that, so they can please just, if they do get a call like that, verify it, call my office. We'll be happy to answer that question for them. They're actually even using certain deputies' names, and so I just want the public to know that it is not us. No law enforcement agency will call anybody to ask for anything. So just want to put that out there to make sure, because public is concerned with what's going on. But just wanted to pass that on. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sheriff. Do we have anyone else? Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have no new business, but moving on to agreements. Under A, it's A-25-15. It's a standard sub-award agreement between Grant County and the Center of Health Innovations. Andrea?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. This is the same agreements you signed a couple months ago. This is with CHI and DOH. We're the fiscal agent, so it just passed through us. But we have to have these in place as part of their agreements for this whole pass-through to work. So we have the DOH side that you signed last month, and then this is the MOU portion for CHI's side. And that goes for both of them, because there's two separate grants.
Do you have any questions, Commissioners? Thank you. So I guess I can make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Okay, so I made the motion. Commissioner Stevens second. Do we have any discussion?
Are we approving A and B?
Is A and B the same, pretty much?
Aside from the dollar amounts. Yes, and the grant agreement number, they're the same.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just amend my motion, if that's okay, Commissioner. I'll amend my motion to go ahead and approve A-25-15 and A-25-16. And Commissioner
Second.
Stevens, still second. Any discussion? Okay, all those for items A and B?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Both items were approved. Moving on to item C is Amendment 2 for A-21-16 Animal Control Services for High Desert Humane Society.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is another annual renewal for our agreement with High Desert Humane Society. So we usually renew this every June. Nothing else changed. Just adding a year.
And this is, okay, it's 36,000. Let me ask you this question. Well, let's make a motion and then I'll ask my question.
I move that we approve the contract.
Second.
So a motion by Commissioner Shally, second by Commissioner Medina, discussion. So let me ask you a question real quick, because I don't know, seeing that we're dealing with what we're dealing with, fires and evacuations and all that, is it, and I know that the Humane Society has taken on a lot of animals, they've had a lot of donations and all that, but are they eligible for anything else, like through the state, for what they've contributed? Through emergency management, anything like that from the state or anything?
I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm still learning what we can be reimbursed for and not, and it's not an expense that we incurred directly for that, and most of what they received were donations from the community. And if you're receiving a donation, you don't get reimbursed for it.
And I'm talking about maybe more staffing. I know a lot of them are volunteer. I don't know what they use as far as that, but I'd like to know, I guess, when all this is done, I'd really, if Heidi could come in and let us know what they've gone through, because, I mean, they have helped this community a lot, and they've been available, and I know the volunteers and donations are, I really appreciate they do that, but at the end of the day, there's some things that they did that, I think we need to look at. Any other discussion? Further discussion? Okay, so we have a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to resolution R-25-42, proposal for architect services for the Gila Community Center.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Today in front of you is a resolution to utilize our existing on-call services with NCA Architects. Just for some background, with feedback from community members, we have already completed a schematic design, and we would like to utilize our contract with them to develop construction drawings and move forward with that. I believe it's a 2023 general fund appropriation that we have that we would like to utilize to pay for these services. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, see no questions. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
So motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Stevens. Any further discussion? See none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item E, which is Resolution R-25-43, Local Government Road Fund. And it's the arterial projects.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, in front of you today is I'm requesting approval for the County Arterial Program, which is a local government road fund. In fact, these 25, 43, 44, and 45 are all subsets of that funding source. So this first one is the County Arterial Program, and with that, we'll be addressing Bill Evans Road and Airport Mesa Road. We're going to be doing crack seal, shoulder reconstruction, vegetation control, and microsurfacing. The total project amount is $219,705. It is a program where DOT funds 75% of that, and the county matches with 25%. Typically, the 25% match is done through labor resources we get to bill back for utilizing our vehicles. So there's a standard scale on there, so how many miles we use for, say, an F-150, how many miles we get reimbursed for transporting materials and so on and so forth. A majority of the material expenses and contract expenses, we utilize DOT for that. So our match for that is basically the labor portion. And with that, we'll stand for any questions.
Just for the public's knowledge, it's 75% is 109,715, and then our match is 36,572. So, can I have a motion for that? I'll second. So I have a motion by Commissioner Medina, and I second that. Do we have any further discussion?
Just a question, Mr. Chairman.
So, is our county road department doing the work on this, or is there gonna be a contract likely?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Shelley, that work is typically executed by the road department. So unless we ran into a circumstance where we don't have the labor force to do it, we would contract that out. But generally,
For this particular project, the microsil is a contractor, but
Oh,
all of the other work is done by the road departments. All of the shoulder work, all the vegetation control, all of the drainage, but we don't have the piece of equipment that does the microsil. Normally, it's exactly like he described, but this is something new that we're utilizing this year, so.
sorry about that.
That's
Thank you
okay.
for the correction.
Thank you. No other discussion?
Okay. Did we have a motion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item F, BR-25-44, Local Government Road Fund. This deals with our school bus route.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, today in front of you is, of course, school bus route, SBR. This project's total cost is $232,137. DOT's contribution to that is $174,103. Grant County's match on this one is $58,034. With that, we'll be addressing Rosedale Road, Racetrack Road, Cottage Sand, and North Hurley. The scope of work includes crack sealing, fog sealing, striping, and updated signage to these roads. And with that, we'll stand for any questions.
Questions, Commissioners? Okay. I guess I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Shally. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Are we making progress on our bus routes? Or no? Are we doing really, keeping up and trying to do the best we can for, because I know that's important. Never mind, your face says it.
No, best we can with the money we get.
Right. Okay. Moving on to, item G, R-25-45, special projects.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners. This project total cost is $146,287. NMDOT's portion of this is $109,715, and Grant County's match is $36,572. This includes work to be performed on Mountain View Road and Bear Mountain Road. Majority of this is adding base course, replacing culverts and cattle guards. And with that, we'll stand for any questions.
I move that we approve this resolution.
Second.
So motion by Commissioner Shally, second by Commissioner Flores. Do we have any discussion? See none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to the next one, R-25-46 is, the Grant County 2027 to 2031 Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, in front of you today is the 27 through 31 ICIP. We did hold 3 community meetings. The first one was May 21st in Mimbres. Thanks to Commissioner Medina to help facilitate that. We also did, the second one took place here in Silver City on June 11th, and the third one took place on June 12th in Cliff. Every elected official, county managers, directors, the general public had the opportunity to provide input for this. The recommendation I have at this point, and it can still be adjusted if we need to, this is due to Department of Finance on July 11th. But basically what we did is the projects that were funded in the last cycle, we went ahead and removed those from the list and shuffled up. The one new item that was added on here was support for the swimming pool, and that would be if the town of Silver City gets one. It's not anything we're requesting for direct money for us. It's more of a support mechanism. Really the projects that we want to put on this are regional projects, but in this case, if the town of Silver City had that specific request, we would make that. Another major addition to this is the new library for Gila. So that would be another portion. We received a lot of public feedback during that meeting. And then, of course, moving forward with Grant County road improvements, that was number 1. We know that that's the biggest service we provide to our community members. We want to make sure we're good at that and we're effective with that. So we'll work with our road department to identify various roads throughout the county to make improvements there. Of course, Gila Library is our second rank on there, and then our third is continuing to make improvements at the Baton Memorial. With that, we'll stand for any questions.
You know, I guess I don't have a problem if we have to approve this now. Like you said, we can make adjustments as we go, but I'd really like to, and I know today's not the day, and I'm not gonna get into this too much, but there's other things, especially our county manager and county staff have to deal with right now, but I'd like to revisit this, put it on another agenda before the final version is put in there, because there's some things that I think we need to really address also. So, for now, I'm good with it, but I think that we need to look at other things.
So we have one more shot, and that's the next meeting, and then we have to, and there's a lot of work he has to do, once you approve it, to make sure that there's a lot of supplemental information, so, we have to approve it at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, at the next meeting, we can have a work session, and then we have the regular meeting to approve it, right? So, Commissioner Stevens?
Thank you. I was able to attend the meeting that was here in Silver, and I appreciate the education and information about the process. I also appreciate you putting the swimming pool on there. I know that that's a town project, but anything we can do to make that happen. I know, when you talk to constituents, it's just a universally popular idea to have a year-round pool, especially that kids can use. I would like to see that happen, even though it's at the bottom of the list and we're not the lead. And then also with the top item, the Grant County roads improvements, I'm happy to see that on there. I know we've talked about how roads benefit everyone. And just a question, I'm always bringing up Wind Canyon because they're so vocal. So would improvements for that community, would that area benefit from this item if approved?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Commissioner Stevens, I think possibly, we hate to commit and say that, yes, this is gonna be identified for that, but that's been an area that we've known for a number of years that we need to make some significant improvements on. We will be doing a little bit of work there on Camino de
Viento, yeah.
After we finish up our chip seal projects. So yes, the idea with this is additional funding outside of what we fund currently with our own dollars plus the LGRF dollars that you just approved. we just don't have enough money to be able to maintain roads the way that we should. So that's the idea behind this. Troubled areas, those that have high dollar amounts associated with them, very much so, like the Wind Canyon project. But I wouldn't want to commit and say that,
Right.
yes, that would be, but
Anything we can get for roads, though, benefits
we have, yeah.
the whole initiative of improving roads. So if we can get it from different pots of money, that's helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
I just have one question related to it also. And a comment. I really appreciate the effort that you go to, Joseph, to get the public input on this. I thought it was very, very good, well done. And when, this is probably the number one thing, like Commissioner Stevens was saying, that, well, one of the top things that we get questioned about as county commissioners a lot is, hey, can we get, I'd like to see this or that done on this road. I'd just like to learn more about how you and the road department prioritizes things. And because I know you're juggling a lot of the same requests that we hear, and I got a lot to learn still about how it comes down to priorities for you.
I can give you the 30,000 foot view of that right now. It's more like triage mode. We have done a asset management plan, which we are working towards revisiting again. And if I recall, to bring every mile of road up to the standard, which it should be, I think, and this was 5 years ago, longer than that, we were looking at $40 million if you brought every mile of our road up to a standard that is acceptable. So basically, we just work in triage mode, like whatever's the worst condition, and we try to fix. And those based on, school bus routes are a priority, high traffic routes are priority, collectors and connectors are high priority, those sort of things. The ones that, lead to one or two houses that aren't a school bus route, obviously, those are regular maintenance type. So we look at higher traffic, those that provide access, connect major highways, provide access to tourists, things like that. But we will be diving into the asset management plan in the next 6 to 9 months, and you will understand exactly how we go through things and where the huge monetary gap is.
Thank you.
And going through this, and I haven't really had a chance to really look at it, but I'm looking here at the regional water project. I'm assuming we were told that this needs to go on there for whatever reason. It's a regional water project. The only thing that bothers me about that, and I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna continue saying it till I term out and I'm sitting at home. There is probably now over $100 million, about $110 million sitting there. This money, according to one of the bills that was passed, which I don't care about this part, took out the, I guess the dam or the diversion that the cap entity was gonna do, and this money was supposed to be freed up for water projects. Looking at this on here, it's 4.8, I think 20 million, 20 million, 20 million, 20 million. This money had been set aside already for some of these projects. I don't understand what it's doing there, other than probably red tape, when you have $110 million that was set aside for this. Now we have to put it on our infrastructure capital plan, and I can already see been sitting up here 7 years as to why it's being put on here. But at the end of the day, there's millions of dollars sitting there. And, there's meeting after meeting after meeting going on with the Interstate Stream Commission about public input, so forth, so on. And this money's still not hitting what it's supposed to hit. What's happening here? I mean, we have all the time, and I say it all the time. You have people complaining, the environmental issues at the mine, we need to shut it down. They're the only ones providing water to Hurley, is Freeport. There's nobody else providing water to Hurley other than our mine. So how do we go about people understanding that you have a private company providing water to a municipality when you have $110 million sitting there approximately, that's not being used because of the red tape and because of what this bill created? So I know why it's there. I don't want nobody to answer it because I'm the one shooting my mouth off, but the money's there. I don't think it should be on any infrastructure capital improvement plan unless the red tape did it again, but we can bring that up down the road and look at it again when we do this, take a closer look at it. But, just so you commissioners know, there's a lot of money sitting there, money that hasn't hit Grant County. And I'm talking about for Hurley, Santa Clara, Baird. Who's gonna turn around and pull the trigger and say, hey, we have a community that doesn't have their own water? Grant County is not in the water and the sewer business. We're not. I mean, if you guys look at it, we don't get money from water. We don't get money from sewer. We have a little plant, I guess, up by Hurley, which I've been saying we need to get rid of and give it to Hurley. But, we could put other things in here, especially when there's that much money sitting there, but I can already hear the conversations that, well, you need to put it on there because it gives us this, it gives it, I don't think we really need to put it on there. I think what needs to happen with that money, it needs to be released. So that's my 2 cents on that, but we can discuss that further. So basically what we can do is we approve this preliminary, since it's on here.
You have until the next meeting, so if you want to make adjustments, you have to do it at the next meeting. So I understood that you wanted to table it because you needed time to look at it further.
I just figured if we my guess, maybe I explained it wrong. My thing was if we pass it for now, we have time before August to make changes and submit the final, right? No?
No, the final is due July 11th.
Okay.
So if you approve it and then you go back and change it, we have to come back, we have to do another resolution, we have to submit it to the state again. It's not an easy process to go back and make amendments. So I don't want to speak for Joseph, he can chime in, but if you need more time to review, it would be less workload on him if you took time to review it and come back and make sure that you approve it on the 10th so we can get it submitted on time.
What do you think, commissioners? Help me out here.
My understanding is the items at the top are the highest priority, and it seems like there's a lot of consensus that those are important. I feel comfortable, I've looked at the list and did attend that meeting, and I feel comfortable going ahead and approving.
I understand that, part of my commission comments is something that I wanted to look at too is, we had this fire, we still have, which Forest Service has done a great job, everybody involved has done a great job with the work they've done. And, this time, I think, we're good, hopefully, knock on wood. Now we have to start getting ready for flooding. We need to start getting ready for other things that may hit because of the burn scars. One of the things that has been crossing my mind in the meetings that I have attended is we are very fortunate that school was not in session. It freed up La Plata Middle School. It helped Santa Clara Elementary School to put people there. If our schools were in session, what were we gonna do? Is a conference center big enough to handle all that? So part of this, to me, here on this ICIP is we have a building that because of liability, we're not gonna rent, that's sitting at Baton Park. We have a huge parking lot that can accommodate a lot of vehicles. You know, part of my thing is, you know, do we need to put money? And I understand that, you know, if the fires get close to Fort Beard and all that, that might not be the ideal place, but at least we have it ready and we have an area till we decide what we need to do. Because, you know, the weather here in Grant County, it's usually, you know, we're not, till about November, we're always gonna be in danger because it's the weather, the way the weather. Do we put something like that on our ICIP list saying, hey, can you get us money to do what we need to do? Maybe develop that building a little better, put showers in it, put more of an area for a kitchen area. I'm not saying to cook. I'm just saying so they can put food there, so we can put cots for evacuees, so we can do things. Does something like that need to be on here? Or do we as a commission say, take it out of our budget and fix it up? Because this is gonna continue. Weather's not gonna get any better. Our climate's not gonna get any better. So those are the things that I look on here. For me to say, let's approve this and move it on, I'd like to get ideas from our commission. Where are we gonna get this money to start doing something for future? But, I mean, we can approve it and we can discuss and look at our budget. Where do we go to get some of that money to fix up that building? If it's gonna be sitting there not being used, let's utilize it for at least our community, in case we run into something. Commissioner Flores.
Commissioner Ponce, thank you for your comments, and, pardon my voice, I just, I agree with Commissioner Stevens, and that I'm comfortable going forward, and I do agree with your comments about the Fort Bayard building and getting that ready for a future emergency, but I don't have enough experience to understand the portion that you discussed with the money that's being held. I need to get more educated on that before I even speak on that. But I am comfortable with this. Like Commissioner Stevens said, the pool, that's important. But also the community center in Gila. I appreciate Joseph for his hard work. He's listened to all of us. I know if he could, he'd put everything we wanted on this list, but it's prioritized. Charlene said perfect words. It's triaged. The community center is a big deal for those folks out there. The library, it's important for the telehealth and things like that. But because we are pressed on time, I am comfortable in approving this and then maybe researching that money that you discussed and, yeah, looking at options to get something ready for, like the Fort Bayard Park would be a perfect place for a future emergency. Thank you.
No, I don't have a problem with the way the front part is, but there's other things that we really need to look at also. You know, my comment about, you know, the regional water project's totally different of this. You know, and I don't have a problem approving this, but at the end of the day, we need to think also about the safety of our community and what we have going on around us. But I mean, yeah, Joseph did a great job. Road improvements, you're right. Gila, the drainage at the Baton Regional, dispatch facility and equipment, Gila community, all that's great. I think we could just add a little bit more to it than that to have it on the list. But I can go with whatever the commissioners want. I don't have a problem with that either.
Mr. Chair, I've got a comment.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, just want to come back to your comments about the Water Commission or the water project. I've sat on that board for almost 2.5 years now. And when I started, it was $80 million they were asking to do this project. We're at well over $180 million required. I invite you to go sit on one of these meetings. Every time I leave these meetings, I'm in awe because of the amount of money, services, assessments, everything it takes. I totally understand that the mine does provide water to Hurley, and I appreciate that, but this water project is important for the next 30, 40 years, so our kids and grandkids and great-grandkids have water in this community. It's important. It serves as a secondary water source for the entire county. The amount of moving parts that are going in from Santa Clara up the Hanover route are unbelievable, what they're gonna be able to provide those folks. It's important, and yes, they do ask the county, they ask all municipalities to put this on the ICIP project because of the amount of money they're gonna require. Just the preliminary engineering reports are the price is phenomenal on them. I mean, it's expensive to do these projects, and without the help of Freeport, this project wouldn't survive. It's needed. The amount of work that Alex Brown puts in, that Priscilla Lucero puts in, the Stantec folks, the people from Santa Fe, it's a big project that's gonna go in, and yeah, it's trying to figure out, do we take it up to Baird and take a hard left and cut across Arenas Valley? Do we keep going along the 180 corridor? It's a lot of decision making and a lot of costs associated with it, and kind of got to agree to a point, at what point do we pull the trigger, because as we sit there, prices just increase. That's all they're doing. The cost of pipe, the cost of labor, the cost of everything is going up. But it needs to be on these ICIPs in order to get this done, to make sure we have water for the next years. And so, but in the same sense, I'm also ready to vote for this. So I'm okay with that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Just one other question, Mr. Chairman and County Manager. Isn't it true that we utilize this list to also lobby the legislature for money, right? And it seems like the first time I reviewed this, we had some other project or issues on here that were top priority, like our mental health building and so forth. It seems like they were on here at one time and have been dropped off. And I know we're doing a study on that, but are we assuming that that building is good to go, for example, and we're not going to need to lobby for additional funds on that?
So the items that we placed on here are, I don't think we're gonna get money for that this year. We don't even know what that looks like. So rather than having an item on there, when we don't know what that is. So one of the things that, as staff, that we have to be able to provide is, they want to know that we've done our due diligence. How did you come up with 1.25 million? How did you come up with 2 million? We have to be able, so to put on there that we need $15 or $30 million for behavioral health facility, we don't know that. We don't know where we're at. So what Joseph and I did is we cleaned this list up quite significantly. There's been items that have been rolling over on this list for probably 4 or 5 years. So we tried to clean this up and make these county level priorities of things that we know that we need that impact us directly today or in the very near future. So that's why some of those things dropped off. And you're correct, the top 3 are what we submit for capital outlay requests. So those are the items that go to the state for funding. We utilize this document for other funding sources. They want to know that we have placed these items on a planning document. So if we go after CDBG funding or Colonius or TPF funding or any other funding source that's out there, we also use this document to show that we have had discussion, we have had public input. What are the priorities for your county at this time? So it's a multifaceted document. It's good for me whenever we do get feedback from the staff and from you, like what are your priorities, what are the staff priorities, so then it's not a surprise when budget rolls around and somebody puts their hand up and says, I need $500,000 in equipment or something like that. So it serves a lot of purposes, but just know that your top 3 are what we submit for capital outlay.
When I saw roads on there, and that to me is our basic county function to do that, I didn't have some other project that I wanted to add to here, but I totally agree that needs to be number one and always on our minds because it affects public safety, everything, so, and our whole economy, so, I agree. I didn't have further input because of that, but thanks for explaining how the thoughts were coming into this revised list here. I'm good, Mr. Chairman, and I also could vote.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioners? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So a motion by, Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Stevens. Any further discussion? You know, to me, the only other part to this is, you know, what we've been going through, behavioral health, substance abuse and all that. That's something's not on here. I'm good with the top three. I think that Gila Cliff area has it not through any commissioner's fault, have been neglected, and we really need to do things up there, but I do have a problem with some of the stuff that should have been on there, so, that's all I have to say. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Aye. Any, motion carries. Thank you. So moving on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Stevens, do you have a report?
I have a few comments. So I just want to acknowledge that it's been really great to see how the community has come together through this emergency. I want to compliment our county manager and staff on the hard work and coordinating and importantly too, in sharing information. You know, I feel like as a commissioner, I haven't really been helpful in the effort, but I have tried to stay up to date on the information and encourage people to use the right sources to get their updates. So I just want to acknowledge that. I have gotten some questions from constituents. One of the questions was answered in an update report about which waterways were affected by debris runoff when we got the rain over the SCAR. So that was really helpful to have those 3 waterways named. I think it might be more than 3 now, but that was good information. Someone did say that they at first misunderstood the emergency alert text, and they encouraged everyone to read those very slowly, you know, to not jump to conclusions. And then another person said that for people who are not online, it would be good to have updates posted at the post offices. So that was just something that someone said. And then I had a question about reclamation, like, or remediation for smoke damage. If people have experienced smoke damage, are there any resources available? And I don't know if like FEMA or other resources are available to those people.
So, unfortunately, the homeowner has to exhaust all of their insurance policies first. But there is a flyer, I'll make sure that we get it to you, but they can reach out to the Red Cross. The Red Cross can put them in contact with various sources to help them with that. That's not something that we can do through the declaration, but they have to exhaust their homeowner's insurance first.
Thank you. That would be helpful. And then, you know, I appreciate Chairman Ponce's comments about looking, I mean, we're still in the emergency, but as things improve and we have more of a big picture view, there's always things that we can learn from what went well and what didn't, and, you know, thinking about the next emergency and thinking about evacuation centers. I know that we have an evacuation center at the convention center. It seems like it was used pretty well. I know that our emergency manager has talked before about requesting money from grants to get like generators and make sure that that facility is really up to par. So I'm hopeful that there will be some opportunity where as a community we can, when it's not a crisis, when we can think about like, what did we learn and how can we be more ready for the next crisis. I would like to participate in that. Moving on from the fire, I did have an opportunity to meet again with the Vice President of New Mexico, Bark. They've been working on spaying and neutering. They're applying for a grant to help spay and neuter more animals in Grant County, especially in the mining community. So I hope that we can be supportive of that application. And then, of course, the fire has taken priority right now, but the county manager and I are still in communication about wildlife services. I know that we had a lot of community input about how can we improve that contract, improve those services. So I have asked for them to give presentations, like Chairman Ponce said, having more interaction, more transparency, hear from them about what they're doing. I think that would be helpful. These are kind of small things, but they've been on my list. I've been interested in what people can do with their yard waste, because people will ask me about that sometimes, and I did recently learn that the Hearth is collecting yard waste. So just wanted to let everybody know that if you have brush or limbs or twigs or grass or leaves, they're working on a soil project. So that's nice. And then I know through our solid waste meetings that they are looking for a place in town to put the cardboard recycling dumpster. So if anyone has ideas on where that could be, I've had a couple constituents that have really kept up with messaging me about how they really would like that. They enjoyed that convenience when they were in town to be able to take their cardboard somewhere. The key though is it needs to be somewhere intentional where people aren't tempted to dump their trash. So it has to be like you go there with the reason to recycle your cardboard. But if everyone can just think about that, I think that would be good. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Shelley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I'll just reiterate, incredible job. I was very impressed with the emergency management, the test of our process and how well I believe it was executed on behalf of our community. The emergency manager, you, or Charlene, our sheriff's department, just incredible job. Thank you. And other than that, I just have two brief items. I did attend it. Unfortunately, it was scheduled at the same time as our last county commission meeting, but I got over there to the Southwest New Mexico Counties Association meeting. It was mainly an opportunity. It was the first meeting I've been to since you all appointed me to that, and I'll save some of these topics for later that came up there, but they're all things that I think are important for our community. And then just to inform you also that the Grant Soil and Water Conservation District, we're scheduling a meeting probably for next week, so it's properly advertised, an emergency meeting, so that we can contribute to what we need to pass a resolution in order to achieve our EWP work that will be needed for the trout fire. So that's something that's going on. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Medina.
Yes, sir. Same boat. Thank you, everybody that worked with the fire. Amazing, efforts from the Emergency Operations Center, the Forest Service, everybody. County Manager, thank you for your commitment and your communication line with all of us. That really helped us out. I also want to tell you, thank you for the sandbag situation. I know you were involved with me and you had numerous conversations about it. Thank you so much. You really helped those individuals out in District 2 as well. I want to tell the people of District 2, thank you for reaching out to me and having faith in me and us, not only me, but us as a commission that we can take care of when they're in need. I called the county manager numerous times and had discussions with her about sandbags and flooding and smoke and you name it. I got multiple calls and I just want to tell everybody thank you for reaching out and having faith in all of us to make sure that we do the job correctly that they need, and make sure they're taken care of. That's all I got.
Thank you, Commissioner Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I'm gonna piggyback off the three commissioners, but I wanna acknowledge the men and women that were boots on the ground fighting the fires. They came from all over the country and know that, they are truly appreciated. I heard from the community, and our community really came together because different folks have told me that they saw them at grocery stores, they paid for their groceries, they bought them dinner, they offered housing. It was really, I went to the meeting yesterday with Commissioner Ponce and hearing the folks that came, the liaisons, Henry from the state, said that he's really never seen a community come together like our community in a crisis like this, and that's very comforting. I want to acknowledge Chief Groves. I know he really stepped up. Ryan from Tier C, the OEM there, he was called upon to come down and help us out, and very knowledgeable, very helpful. I know these folks put their families aside to come down here for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's noticed, it's appreciated. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department, of course, for their help, the State Police, Silver City, Santa Clara, and if I'm missing somebody, I apologize. Alex Brown from the town of Silver City really helped us out. And Romeo and his staff at the convention center, I know Chairman Ponce and I were talking, Romeo's getting calls at different hours of the night like everybody else. He coordinated the convention center with the small staff there, got people to fill sandbags, really just, I think, went above and beyond what's expected of him. And of course, I just want to acknowledge, and I know it's hard for her to take a compliment, I think, but Charlene, because she stepped up when she needed to. She took control of the situation. She was basically the directing everybody to what they needed there. I just stayed out of her way. I called her a couple of times, but I didn't want to call her back. And I've seen an operations center before, other fires that I've worked as a state police officer. This really was a great thing to see. But yeah, thank you. It could have been way worse, and the airplanes dropping retardant and stopping that fire. I talked to one of the state police officers I know very well. He said that fire was coming over the hilltop there, going against the wind and gaining ground fast. And if it wasn't for those retardants dropping that flame, it could have very easily been very, very disastrous for folks down here in the valley. But thank you to everybody. And getting away from the fire, I just got a couple things, Mr. Chair. I would like maybe if Jason could reach out to the highway department, Charlene. I know he's not here, but I think US 180 really needs to be restriped already, because looking at it from my perspective and from my experience, it is definitely a liability, because I've said it before up here, in Grant County and Silver City, we just accept things the way they are, and I think that's halfway done. And I'm not going to use the language I want to use, but it's halfway done. They do a great job with the pavement, but then they leave and it's not done. And I know, I've seen other highway projects get done. It should have been striped immediately. We know the highway, us in Grant County know the highway. We know where to pass and where not to pass. At night, that dark pavement's even darker. It's even darker when it rains. And we get folks over here that aren't from Silver City or Grant County. They don't know a passing area. It's not striped, double striped, single striped. They pass and they get a head on. Guess what? We're liable. State's liable because they didn't take precautions. I don't know why they just don't go out there and finish the striping. It's not that big of a deal. But again, I'm saying something. Please get it done, whomever. I know it's a state project, right? Is it? I hope, yeah.
It is, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I drive that road twice a day, and it's pretty
No,
scary
it
to
is-
me,
it is
so
bad.
I'm gonna call Aaron myself and ask where that's at, because
No, it
I've been
is
thinking the
bad.
same thing.
Especially in the summer, people are going to the river, they're going to Bill Evans now because Lake Roberts is closed, but please, I just hope someone can get it striped before there's an accident. And, that's all I have, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You know, a couple of things here. First, probably to the lady that has one of the most difficult jobs in Grant County, because she has 5 bosses that usually go in 5 different directions. We appreciate everything that you've done. We appreciate how you've briefed us, how you've stayed on top of certain things. I appreciate how, you know, the public has pulled you in different directions in different areas, and you've managed to stay with the priorities of what needed to be done, not anything else. I really appreciate everything you did. I appreciate what you're going to continue to do because, you know, fires may be, they may have a handle on that fire, but we also have to look for 7 years in front of us with the burn scars, with the flooding. And I hope that Grant County doesn't, you know, get laxed on that because, you know, it comes back and it hits you when you least expect it. But I really appreciate everything you've done, Charlene. I also want to thank you, your staff and you know, our deputy county manager there, Andrea. I'm sure that she took care of half of the county there while you were busy doing what you needed to do, so I appreciate that. Haven't heard anything that the Grant County fell apart, so thank you. We appreciate you for continuing to do that, and the staff, everybody that supported you and supported our community and what they were going through to keep our community, our Grant County going. The other thing that, before I forget, I really want to give thanks to the kids that were out there filling the sandbags. You know, we had Boy Scouts, we had other young kids. They finished doing what they needed to do, and they moved on to the next area to continue doing more filling the sandbags. I appreciate their time and their time and volunteering to do that. It's very important. So my hat's off to them, and you know, each commissioner mentioned people. Really appreciate everybody. I really appreciate the community and how they handled this. And don't let, you know, biggest message from me is don't let your guard down. We still have monsoons. We still have other things that are going to go on. So, you know, stay vigilant, especially in the areas of Mimbres and in that, all that area. But my biggest thanks is to our county manager, and thank you for what you did. The other thing that I wanted to talk to a little bit is a while back, or it wasn't a while, a few days back, and I don't know much about it. I've been digging into this, but I saw a post and I spoke to our representative, Rebecca Dow, yesterday evening. I also spoke to Representative Jones on some of this, but I saw a post where wolves are being fed, and my understanding is I don't know if I should say it, but anyway, that they're being fed with horse meat to come in because of they you know, they're endangered species, so forth, so on. Which is fine. I'm not going to sit here and argue about wolves and all that, and you know, pros and cons and all this, because they're a vital part of our ecosystem. It's what is said. You know, biologists have certain things, and I'm studying this and I'm learning and I'm trying to get more information on this. But you know, one thing that meetings that I have attended with Forest Service and EOC and all that is, one of their comments was to me, to the audiences is that, they go out there and they see that even our the oak brush, the leaves are brittle, they're falling, things are very dry. I understand where money goes. BLM, hunters that hunt in Grant County, that's pretty much one of our ways of life. I'd like to see more money coming in. We pay for certain things. We pay for habitat stamps. We have all these fees to be able to enjoy our forest and to be able to hunt. I just think that some of this money needs to be distributed and come a little bit down here for maybe more watering stations. And I know you're gonna need rain for watering, but it doesn't matter. It collects it and it can hold it for a while for some of our game animals. I think that there needs to be more done when our forest is driving up, not just for the wolf. It needs to be done for all animals that are out there. My hats go off to the ranchers, and they take they take a beating sometimes, because of wildlife services on. But if you really look at it, our ranchers around here, they're the ones using their equipment. They're the ones using their time, their resources to keep the water holes. Yeah, naturally. It's for their cattle, and that's their livelihood. But at the same time, what people don't understand is they're providing the drinking water for our game animals. They're the ones doing that. Where is our state? Well, not only that, our federal money. We sit back and we look at certain things about, the U.S. forests. Well, they're going to take our lands, our public lands. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Well, you know what? I think as hunters, need to take a little more proactive approach to come down here and to make our voices known, other than environmental groups. And yeah, I understand they have big money and they have a lot of money. They put a lot of money into some of the elections, some of the candidates that do that. But don't forget about the little people down here that also like to hunt and fish, and that needs to happen down here. I really feel that eventually we need to put a resolution together, not only concerning the wolves, and I'm not saying following Catron County's emergency declaration or whatever they did. I think a good solid thing, because we need to fight for our Gila National Forest. We need to put money down in here. We get taxed a lot with some of these fees, and I think we need to be fair. It shouldn't be just that one animal because it's endangered, because if we continue doing what we're doing, we're endangering other animals. If you come down Highway 180, if you come down 90 South, what do you see all the time laying on the side of the road? As a commissioner, what do you get? Well, Game and Fish doesn't want to pick up these animals. State Highway Department doesn't want to pick up well, why are they coming into town? Because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing and helping with their habitat. But at the end of the day, what does irk me is, oh yeah, we can feed wolves and we can give them meat and we can do this, but what about the other animals? You look at hunters. Facebook and social media is great for certain things, but sometimes things don't get done on there. You're complaining to the same people that are complaining. We need to get together, because I'm sure there's enough hunters in New Mexico that can have more people than some of these groups that we have, and to show, hey, we're down here. There's other animals here. And I think that as a commission, and I'm going to try to get more information, and I'm going to try to meet with BLM, but I think we do need to do some type of resolution that, hey, let's be fair here and let's be equal. And I hope that you hunters out there and people that fish, unite, and we start having our voices. Or not on Facebook. Facebook doesn't get anywhere. It's just a circle and a circle to the public. Yeah, you get aware of certain things that are happening, but we need to take action. And I'd really like to see a proclamation go up on the wolves. I'd like to see a proclamation go up on bringing more money down here to us too. Let's get some watering stations. Let's try to get some feed plots. BLM, we pay money. Let's treat everybody equal, and everybody that pays us money to use it. So that's part of my thing right now. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything?
Mr. Chair, I got a quick comment. So I was told a story the other day about food not being delivered because of lack of volunteers. And this individual was telling me about the American Legion Post 18 with Joe Drake, commander, and John Steele, assistant commander, and they needed some food delivered. And I guess these guys took that approach that they did in the military. If it's got to be done, we'll take care of it. And they went to work, and they did an amazing job. And this individual just asked me if I could recognize them because they went above and beyond. These guys just never stopped. They just kept going and going and going. And I want to tell them, thank you so much. I appreciate them. These are these veterans that just come to work, and they don't do it for recognition. They do it just because it has to be done. And I want to tell them, thank you so much. That's all I got.
Commissioner Flores?
Thank you, Commissioner Ponce. Just to add on to your comments, because you brought it up, it is concerning that they're feeding the wolves and putting money into that, because it doesn't make sense to me, because wolves should basically hunt to feed themselves, because other animals do that are predators. You are right. They should put money towards water, and especially towards game management. I brought this up before, is that Game and Fish is not managing the deer population in Grant County, and we see it every day with accidents. Again, we just sort of turn a blind eye to it because it's a deer wreck, and we know what happens here. But I know a family that got into a pretty bad accident 2 or 3 nights ago, coming from Lordsburg to Silver City. They hit a bear, and it was a huge bear, and it totaled their vehicle. And it's just rare that you see a bear come into the highway. But you're right, the animals are desperate. They're looking for water, they're looking for green grass, they're looking for anything, especially when it starts raining. There's more vegetation on the side of the road because it drains off the side of the road. I definitely think they could put their money to better use than feeding wolves. And you're right, I mean, the wolves are important, but you mentioned one thing that sort of struck a chord in with me, but we're very close to an emergency, just like Catron County. It's not that we're following them, but we have to listen to our constituents that raise cattle, and if we're not there already, we are gonna have to be following Catron County with the declaration of emergency with the wolves. Hopefully they can listen to us and look at ways to better spend their money. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody have anything else? No? Okay, moving on. Executive session in accordance with NMSA 1978 10-15-1, H2, limited personnel matters. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So move.
So motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Shally. Do we have any discussion? See none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can you please do a roll call?
Chairman and Commissioners, are you aware you're entering into executive session? Chairman Ponce,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina,
Yes.
Commissioner Shally,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
And I do not think we will have any action. So, Mr. Ben, appreciate, not our attorney, but back here, thank you, appreciate it. Mary Alice, thank you.